where butterflies are made. And she said, "What's a butterfly?" He said, "A butterfly is hope for the flowers." And she said, "Can I be a butterfly?" And he said, "In every caterpillar, there's a butterfly." And she said, "Will I die?" And he said, "You die as a caterpillar, but you live as a butterfly." And so she began to build her cocoon and work her caterpillar muscles. And the rains came, but she hung on anyhow. And the lightning struck, but she hung on anyhow. And the wind blew, but she hung on anyhow. And at the moment of time, she broke through her cocoon, soared high to heaven, and then went from one flower, mixed the nectar from that flower to the nectar for another flower. And because of that, there's hope for the flowers. Oh, Roy, in every caterpillar, there's a butterfly. All you need to do is just hang in there. People are going to say you're not doing anything, but you know what's happening inside that cocoon. And the wind's going to come, the rain's going to come, the thunder's going to come, but hang in there anyhow. And at the moment of time, you'll break through and take the love from this place and add it to the love to this place and the love to that place. And because of that, there's hope for the nation.
I want to show you one more video, and then we're going to introduce a gentleman who I am so proud of. I can't do this too much longer because I don't wear myself out. I have no kidneys, but I thank God for life and a reasonable portion of health is there. Yesterday after the dialysis, my blood pressure was 80/40. They said, "You're not going anywhere." It got to 100, let me go. After the doctor's appointment, got there, and the man said, "I can't even get a blood pressure." I said, "Am I alive?" He said, "You're alive." But now I want you to hear from my nephew, who has just started a practice in North Carolina. I want you to hear his story. This is the reason that I'm in this ministry. This is the reason that I go behind and hear the bars crash. This is the reason why I'll take a convicted murderer and watch his life turn around. Listen very carefully. I'm very proud of this young man. He's actually not only my nephew, he's like a grandson that I raised his mother. Come on, Henry, tell us something.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Henry Jackson Jr., and my wife, Barbara Jackson, and I both want to wish Pastor Roy Curtin, who is also my uncle, who we love very much, congratulations on decades of service and ministry and being active throughout the community and the lives of individuals like my wife and myself. I wanted to take a moment to share my testimony with everyone watching this video. When I was in the 3rd grade, couldn't have been much older than 7 or 8 years old, the teacher at the class, she's your leader, she's your mentor, she's your guidance counselor. She looked me in the eyes and she said, "They're building jail cells for kids like you." And I can't emphasize how heavy that weighed on me at the time. But thankfully, God puts people in your life like Pastor Roy to be an inspiration, to give encouragement, and to speak life and positivity into individuals when they need it most, like myself, who I can't say enough, gratitude for having someone like Pastor Roy in my life. And with that being said, I want to speak positivity into each and every one watching this video here today. As long as you put God first, there's no weapon formed against you that'll prosper. I'm a living example of that. And for everyone watching this video, this isn't the end for you. God bless.
The Honorable Dwayne Gregory. Come and greet us.
Thank you, Pastor Curtin. Just allow me a few minutes to say hello and congratulations to all the honorees and all the fine folks here today. Thank you for your service to our community. Many great people, many great faces I know who have dedicated their lives in every waking moment and sleeping moments. And Abu's here to tell you he lives Amityville during his waking hours, but he's dreaming about it during his sleep. That's right. And he's committed to Amityville for many decades. And I want to congratulate all the fine folks up there on the dais with me as well. Been great having discussions with Mr. Holliday, who's a great icon for the community. And we have so much history here in our community that doesn't get highlighted, doesn't get spoken about. All the, I can't tell you how many times I've gotten press calling me if there's a shooting in Wyandotte or Amityville. That, literally call me 5 times in a half hour, 45 minutes. We want to get your comment, want to get your feedback on this incident that happened just a short while ago. But when there's something positive that happens, we're reaching out to them and we get no return from them. That's right. So, and there's a lot that's going on, a lot of positivity that's happening, and this program exemplifies exactly just that. So many people over the years dedicating their lives to those who are less fortunate, who are down on their luck, who are coming out of prison, not hopeful, quite frankly, not hopeful that they have a bright future ahead of them, because they see how hard it is. They see the challenges. I have a bill before our legislature to ban the box. There's story after story of people who came to my office and said, look, I made a mistake, a year ago, 5 years ago, 15 years ago, and I can't get past because I can't get hired. As soon as I check that box, my opportunities are more automatically driven away from me. We're trying to change that here in Suffolk County. We have one of the largest census of prisoners in the state. There's a lot of people, particularly with this opioid epidemic. There are a lot of people that have records, who have made mistakes because of substance abuse issues, and who are going to have to turn their lives around. And if they can't get gainful employment, that's going to make it that much more difficult. But I'm encouraged and inspired that we have people like you who are out there every single day, trying to make life better for them. Trying to make the light just a little bit brighter so that they can see that there is opportunity waiting for them. That someone actually cares. That someone actually cares. I've gone out to Riverhead and spoken to some of the folks. They have a youth program out there. And they had 10 kids at the time, and actually 6 of them were from the district. And I remember this one guy, his nickname was Freaky. I don't ask him why he going Freaky. But he says, when I get out, I don't know where I'm going to live. And we have services that are in the prisons connecting services to them while they're in prison or in jail, so when they come out, they can continue to have a continuum of care. That's not always there. But it's good to have people with familiar faces that are there and encouraging them, that are showing them, hey, life is not over for you. You made a mistake, but you can get past that. And that's what this is all about. So congratulations to all the honorees here today. Thank you for your service and continued commitment to those who are less fortunate, because we need you, and we need more of you and more time to do it. So thank you again. I apologize. I have to leave early. I have to get my dog out of the groomer. My wife's out of town. So he's the prince of the family. If I don't do that, I'm going to be in the doghouse, and he's going to be in the bed with my wife. So, but that's the duties of the spouse, right? So I just wanted to stop by and congratulate all of you, and thank you for everything.
So Mother Stone is going to come and introduce her son, the next executive director and chief of staff of St. Paul Ministry.
I give honor to all that honors due. And I also give honor to you.
Yes.
And my word to you is, the Lord bless thee and keep thee. The Lord make his face shine upon thee and be gracious unto thee. The Lord lift up his countenance upon thee and give thee peace. Amen. As I read through Kyle's bio, it starts with him saying, he's a father and a husband. Yes, he is. A very devoted and loving husband, and a father of 4, and a grandfather of 1. Then it says he's an entrepreneur. That's true. After being rejected by many, mainly because he was an ex-con, he finally got hired at a base level job. Realizing he could do better than that, he started his own business. He's an exceptional hard worker. The bio mentions he was a liaison between students, teachers, and schools. That's true too. In so many ways it's true, good and indifferent. I'm going to give you an example of indifference. I received a call from a teacher. He told me he was telling the students to hurry up, have a seat. He's going to give them a pop quiz. He said he heard Kyle when he said, "Don't worry, we're not having a quiz today." He said he wasn't going to get drawn into Kyle's rhetoric, so he got in, walked into class, and Kyle decided to proceed to tell him it wasn't a good idea to give a pop quiz on a Thursday. So after a while, Kyle had drawn him into this debate, and needless to say, 5 minutes later, the bell rung, and Kyle said, "I rest my case." Then I got another call from another teacher that was in awe of him. She said she was having a bad day. When all the students left her class, she pushed everything on her desk on the floor. She looked up, and in the doorway stood Kyle. "Bad day, huh? Don't worry, I'll clean it up." She was so upset she just left. She returned back in a few minutes because she realized she left a student in the classroom with all the papers. When she got there, all the papers was in its place, the desk was cleared up, and an apple was on the desk. She said she went looking for him, and he was in the gym playing basketball with his friends. That's Kyle. There was a racial situation between schools. It happened at a football game in 1993, in which a lot of racial slurs were being thrown at the young men of the Southampton team. They were calling them monkeys and etc. We lost that game by 1 point, but needless to say, the game didn't end well. We met that same team in the playoffs. The coaches and the referees were concerned about the two teams playing again. Due to the ending of the last game, the referee association decided to meet the coaches and the captains of both teams, and they decided discussing options of what to do. They told me Kyle gave a suggestion as how to handle it. And they did it the way Kyle said do it. Needless to say, we won the game by that 1 point. And as they were leaving the field, the captain of the other team called out Kyle's name, ran across and shook his hand. And he said, "I didn't know any intelligent black boys." Yes, everything in the bio is true. He is an extraordinary man. But there's two things that's not mentioned, and it's who he was first and will always be. And that's a son and a brother. Kyle is the second-born son of his father and me. But he also acted like the oldest. He looked out for his siblings. They looked up to him. He talked at a very early age. He asked very unique questions. He's very logical. He is a great listener and a confidant to many. He always looked out for the least of the little ones. I always said he's the most. He could make you the happiest. He is the most thoughtful. He could make you laugh the most. He was the neatest. He could make you the maddest. Well, Proverbs 22:6 tells us to train up a child in the way that he should go, and he will not depart from it. He was raised in the church, was recited speeches, was in church plays, and challenged his friends to do the same and be better. He was not a follower, always a leader, but he knew how to serve leadership with integrity. He is my son, whom I'm well pleased. Isaiah 55:8-9 in the New King James Version says it like this: For my thoughts are not your thoughts, nor are your ways my ways, said the Lord. For as the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. But I kind of like the way the Message Bible says it. It says, I don't think the way you think. The way you work isn't the way I work. God's decree. For as the sky soars high above the earth, so the way I work surpasses the way you work. And the way I think is beyond the way you think. You see, my plan was for him to go to college and finish. God's plan sent him to jail, and he's excelling in life by doing it his way. My plan was for him to pastor in a church. God's plan is for him to pastor in the kingdom. He is an avid studier of the Bible and a follower of the Word. Jeremiah 29:11 in the New King James Version says it, For I know the thoughts that I think towards you, said the Lord, thoughts of peace and not of evil, to give you a future and
Win, and forever grateful. And being with Safe Harbor, I developed a relationship with Safe Harbor as well as Pastor Curtin, and I am committed to Safe Harbor, regardless of anything that comes up, left or right, up, down, good, bad, or indifferent. I pledge my allegiance to Pastor Curtin and to Safe Harbor, and making a change in the correctional facilities and making a change with those people once they get out of the facility. It's been a long time. I've probably been volunteering for 17 years, I'd say. And I've learned so much just by going back in. But I do understand this, that is where I am supposed to be. It's a place where I am supposed to impact lives. And then when they get out, I'm supposed to be there to help them be reacclimated, because I know what that process is. I listened to the video about the caterpillar and the butterfly, and everything my mother said is true. All the things in school was true. All this great young man, it was all true, and yet I still went to prison for 5 years. With everything said, with a loving mother like that, and my dad sitting there, my siblings and my friends at the table, everybody there to support me and be there for me, I still did 5 years in prison. So there's people there. It's not about deserving to be there.
That's right.
Doesn't matter, they're there. And you don't know what their story is. You don't know what their pain is. You don't know how good it was for them or how bad it was for them. It does not matter, they're there.
That's right.
And I'm here today because somebody took time while I was in there to support me. Somebody took time when I got out to be there to support me, to give me a leg up, to give me a resource, to give me a conversation, to give me an ear, to let me know they cared. And that made all the difference in my life. So going forward, what we're going to do is the same for everyone else. For any and everyone that's willing to change, we're going to be there. Safe Harbor is going to be available. I don't know what it's been. I'm not concerned with what it was. I know what it's going to be. I've been quiet, I've been reserved, I am to myself. But one thing I do understand, it is now my time. This is not an arrogant statement. It's not an arrogant statement, it's not cocky. I just understand the Father's timing. In the beginning of the year, I started a YouTube channel. I was going to do some things. And
I want to explain to you the timing. I'm going to sit. 5 years ago, I died. I was in the hospital from February to July. I went to rehab. A friend of mine, I asked him, I said, how do I look? He said, well, I don't want to tell you because you were green. I had no kidneys. One Sunday morning, as I laid in the bed in a pamper, didn't know what I was going to do my next move. Kyle comes to my rehab place. He said, I just left my bishop. I won't call his name, I love this man. Wonderful bishop. My bishop offered me a church. And I said, no, I'm with Pastor Curtin. I was as green as a toad, but this young man stood with me. I thank God for him.
Amen.
when you know what the Father has called you to do, you won't say yes to everything just because it seems great. It could look great, it could seem great, it could be what everybody else in life wants for you, but you need to know what He has for you. So earlier in the year, I started a YouTube channel because I wanted to teach because I study a lot. And I put out a lesson, and in my meditation and prayer time, all I heard was shh. I didn't know what that was, but I started to realize that the Father just wanted me to shh. Sometimes you just gotta shut up. The Bible, it says, people always talk about study to show thyself approved. It also says study to be quiet. Right. So this year, I've been very quiet. And it may have shaken some relationships. It may have made people even question me. But when the Father tells me to shh, I have to shh. Because He's preparing me, He's preparing things around me. There's some people that are now back in town. There's some people that are here today that I've never met, but you're here today because we're supposed to meet. So sometimes you gotta shh. But I know now that it's time. Somebody just say, it's time. It's time. You gotta know when it's time. So now, moving forward, I understand this, and this is my mantra, that I needed 2019 to have 2020. I hope you get it. 2020 is clear vision. It's not just a year on the calendar. I needed 2019 to have 2020 vision. So the vision is clear, the timing is right, and everybody that is willing to make a difference in society and in this world, we are here, we are going to do it because it's our time. Thank you.
She broke the ceiling. The first deputy commissioner of color in the county of Suffolk. My friend, the county executive, Steve Ballone, had great wisdom. Because we have to have great wisdom in order to deal with people. You'll see his letter in the guide, but she is here to represent, and I want her to tell you some of the things she's doing. So let's receive her right now. Deputy Commissioner Briscoe mentioned Lewis.
Good afternoon, everyone. Kyle, I just want to say you're doing a wonderful job. I look forward to your vision, the 2020 vision that you have. And anything that I can do to help you do that, I'm right here. I'm only a phone call away. Pastor Gordon done great work with the reentry, transforming lives through mentoring. I've known him a long time and watched his work for a long time. One thing I'd like to say is, it is true that everything's on time, right? And the whole idea of this work is that we find our purpose. I know that God prepared me to be a deputy police commissioner to help people transition from the policing of the past to the policing of our future. Because we can do reentry, but if they don't enter, we have less reentry to do. if we don't transform policing in America, that's not going to happen. It's funny, I had planned on making my mind up from now on, I'm not going to be out on weekends. Pastor Curtin called me 4 times. I said, I can't be here.
What time?
He said, coded members are going to be honored. I said, I can't be here. He said, Council Thought Nash, people who told me their names are going to be here. You got to be here. I said, I can't be here. And then Jackie Gordon called me a few days ago and said, Risco, I can't come. You got to go to my place. I said, oh, Lord. I said, Lord, I said, I can't be here. And I guess he said, you going to be here. Because I can't say no to Jacqueline Gordon. Because why? Because you need to know that she's a councilwoman running for Congress. She's a councilwoman running for Congress. And she needs your support. Just like the people in this room who's previously incarcerated, how Pastor Curtin is a safe harbor for them. If you elect Jacqueline Gordon to Congress, she'll be the safe harbor for all of you. She's the one who will fight for the resources that we need for reentry, but more importantly, for prevention and intervention so there's less reentry to do. That is why I'm here. I'm here on behalf of Jacqueline Gordon, not myself, not the Council of Thought and Action, not the work I've done. I'm here on her behalf and to say thank you, Pastor Curtin, for all you've done in Suffolk County that you continue to do. Thank you.
But I want to introduce the next gentleman who is, we bumped heads together in school. He's a couple years older than me. I was a nerd and he was a football player. But we're both sons of Walter G. O'Connell, the principal from Copiague High. And we spoke at his homegoing service in a Catholic church. You've seen him on Matlock? You've seen him in Roots. I call him Kenny. He's telling me his name is Kenny. So we present Kenny Hopley.
I've been doing this business for 50 years. So I'm not slighted by anything, even a loving mishap. I am Keen Holiday. K-E-N-E, okay? But if you say Kenny, then all it does is let people know that you old school and you knew me when I was old school. All right? It's a pleasure to be here today. You know, Risco Lewis that was just here, and Pastor Curtin, when he was doing Circle of Love Church, I had a theater company that I started here called Motel Theater Works. It was named after my mentor, Fantile Moto Gico Winfield. And so when we didn't have a place to rehearse, Risco Lewis opened up the facility where the 100 black men own in Freeport. And then Pastor Curtin opened up his church, Circle of Love, when we had a little presentation that we wanted to make. But what I'm making my point about is, you know, they reached out. You know, I reached out. I knock on doors. I've been hustling all my career, all right? I will tell you about something that I'm here working on currently. But you know what? I'm 70 years old, y'all.
All right.
70 years old. All right. And at the Wall of Fame that they talk about at Copiague High School, I was a founding member. Right in the middle, on the top row, is Kenny Holiday. All right? That's Kenny Holiday. So anyway, I worked for CODA for 5 years, working for young men. CODA is Council of Thought and Action, and it is an anti-recidivist agency, okay? Just like Safe Harbor, anti-recidivist. We would teach you how to stay out of the carousel. So I had a class that I taught, and it was based on one thing. What is the one thing you fear the most when you go to apply for a job if you are a person who has a history of incarceration? What is that one thing? Are you now, or have you ever been a convicted felon? All right? And I taught a class where I said, I know a way. What I do, I go and I audition. That means I go to every gig is going to be different. I got to go in there with something unique for each and every interview that I do. I can't go in there and do the same thing that I did for Roots. Won't work. I got to go in there with something unique. I said, when you present yourself for a job opportunity, it is how you present yourself that can overcome, are you or have you ever been a convicted felon? If your presentation is well, if your posture is well, if your research about the job is well, if your history of works while since you've been out of prison is well, this will give the opportunity to the person on the other side to say, I want to give this person a second chance. And by that, I have made that question disappear by your presentation. Now, the ones that stayed with me when I was at COTA, and they stayed diligently, I'm telling you, before the class was even halfway over, they would go out and try the things because they were smart. Say, I'm going to go try and see what he's saying is true. So what they were trying to do is build up a dossier of failure. Because if it didn't work, see, then they'd be all right to go back to what they were doing before. But if they astutely applied what I was presenting, you know what happens? They got jobs. They got jobs. They got jobs, and they come back and they say, Mr. Holliday, you should have seen it. It was incredible. You can see it in the man's eyes. He said, I can see it in the man's eyes. He was really looking at me. He wasn't looking down at the papers. He wasn't shuffling papers. He was looking at me. I said, you know, this is how we make change. You cannot be afraid to be obtuse. To make, you know, obtuse is not perpendicular to the side, you know. I was one of those kids at Copiague High School, obtuse. But I was a good student. I was an honor student. I worked very hard. And I wound up at the University of Maryland in College Park playing football. And that is where I discovered my love of the arts. And it has delved into a career that has lasted me 50 years at this point. So I'm not going to take up a whole bunch of your time. But I'm here also, besides this austere and edifying event that we are participating in, I want to congratulate all of y'all that are here and showing support for Safe Harbor. I will be supporting Kyle in his new ventures. I would like you to multiply, bring 3 or 4 more friends next time that we gather together on some project that Kyle is going to want to move. We got a movement afoot, y'all, in this country. There is a movement afoot that by those of you that are here in it, do not be afraid to be obtuse, to bring change about. Your family's lives depend upon it. Your lives depend upon it. Do not be afraid to be obtuse. Think outside the box. Think outside. Don't try to conform. Try to break down the barriers that keep you confined in conformation. You hear me? All right.
I want to tell you a story. I go to the gym to exercise. And so last Monday as I went to the gym and I was ready to go home, I went into the sauna. And there was a man waiting there for me. I began to tell him my testimony of how I died. He then told me that he spent 30 years behind the wall. He said I was John Gotti's hitman. I said, really? And I invited him today to come. He said to me, do you know a man named Milton Rockford? I said, yes, he's my mentor. And so we're going to ask Bishop Rockford and Matt to come up this time to do a presentation. Are you here? Bishop Milton Rockford. Come on up, Bishop. Come on, let's celebrate this man of God that has spent over 50 years behind the walls, mentoring men, women, and children. The pastor of the All Saints Church of God in Christ. How many times you been shot?
13 different occasions, 23.
Isn't God good? God had a reason for him to be here.